37-21. Colorado loses its third football game of the season here in Kansas City against the Jayhawks. And it was a slow start, and it was a really rough defensive effort for Colorado. So many missed tackles in this football game. And this is something that Coach Brian brought up a few times in his post-game press conference. Kansas did not punt at all in this football game.
Yeah, the only possession Kansas didn't score was the very last one when they drive to the 16 and then kneel on it to run out the clock. They could have scored again probably. That was a rough one. And, the slow starts, they haven't hurt the Buffs a ton this year because they've got so many weapons they can overcome them. This one, it felt like you can't get off to a slow start against this team because they are rolling and they're at home and they wanted this game. The way they were talking, they wanted this game really bad. And so it went to that formula, right? Kansas gets off to a hot start, and they use that as fuel the rest of the night. And really, not only could CU not stop them, but the Jayhawks just fuel off that all night, and they were in control from start to finish. Really, even I thought when it became 23-21, I don't think Kansas probably ever flinched because it's like, well, we're getting the ball back, and they went right back down and made it 30-21. So it just. We haven't seen CU look like this really since the first half in Lincoln back in September, and hats off to Kansas.
Yeah, they dominated time of possession. They had the football for a little more than 40 minutes in this football game. 331 rushing yards, a lot of those from Devin Neal, who touched the ball 41 times. He was a workhorse out here tonight. Coach Prime said that he heard the calls, and he said that Robert Livingston called a good game. But the guys out there on the field didn't execute. He also made reference to the fact that, maybe some guys are reading their press clippings and maybe think they've already arrived. And so he expressed some frustration with that.
Yeah, and not to use a coach's term, but I would like to go back and watch the game a little bit and see, how badly some of those calls or some of those plays were just missed. But we know just from the naked eye watching it, they missed a lot of tackles tonight. And they've been so good at tackling recently and been so physical at the point of attack, and they just weren't tonight. And you have to put some of that on the players and not so much on Robert Livingston. I'm sure that there's some calls you look at and say, well, that they shouldn't have called that or whatever. But bottom line, I just thought that CU got manhandled. Kansas's offensive line and the running game just totally took over tonight, and CU had no answer for it.
Yeah, and offensively, Colorado just didn't have the ball enough times to really get going. And after that slow start, again, third straight week where they're just not able to get much of anything going on the ground. Isaiah Gustav went down early in the game with an injury. Michael Welsh was back out there and had a couple nice plays, but they're one-dimensional again offensively.
Yeah. They really were. And Coach Prime made reference to this, and I agree with him. Like, it's hard to put a whole lot on the offense. He was looking at it, he goes, look, 21 points in 19 minutes, I'll take that. And they had 42 plays. That's it on offense. And yes, they had some 3-and-outs, which are magnified by the fact that the defense couldn't get stops. But you're going to have some 3-and-outs in games, and usually your defense gets a stop or two to help you, get the ball back to you and you can go score. This was just one that the offense had to be perfect because the defense was not at all, and the offense wasn't perfect. But you're right. If you can run the ball at all, that helps. That maybe gives you another 5 minutes of clock time, and you're able to sustain drives. But yeah, they couldn't run the ball at all, and Michael Welch, Dallin Hayden, Isaiah Augusta, whoever it was, just couldn't do it.
Yeah. Draylon Miller, again, another touchdown this week, a really nice catch there. Travis Hunter was at 125 yards that he finished with. So a nice performance out of him, 2 touchdowns, and almost had an incredible diving interception in this football game as well. So I don't think that his Heisman campaign should have taken too much of a hit because of this loss for Colorado. I think he continues to show that he's capable of doing things that no other player in the country is.
Yeah, I mean, in 19 minutes of offense, he has 125 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, to me, he almost solidified the Heisman. The loss stinks, but and defensively, I thought he played well. I didn't notice him messing up on defense. I don't know how many passes he gave up, but it wasn't many. Everything they were giving up was to Devin Neal. So I thought Travis played phenomenal. Shador was pretty good overall, and set a couple records tonight. Actually, I mean, first quarterback in CU history with 30 touchdown passes in a season. It's hard to celebrate those things right now, but the offense. I thought their 2 stars on offense played fairly well. They just didn't have the ball enough.
Philip Houston went down late in the game. Coach Prime kind of fears that it maybe could be a severe injury. We saw Benson slide from guard over to tackle when that happened. Jimmy Horn wasn't able to go tonight. Defensively, Preston Hodge was out again. Starting to become a little bit more of a banged-up team, but I think we've seen this team bounce back from disappointment before the season. I expect to see that out of this group, especially against an Oklahoma State team that's really struggled this season.
Yeah, for sure. And Shane Cokes did not make the trip either. Was that 3rd straight game he's missed? Right. I did hear before the game that they think Shane will be back next week, so that's a good sign. They need him. They could have used him tonight. I'm not sure even he would have made a difference tonight. But yeah, you've got to bounce back quickly. It's a short week. You play on Friday next week instead of Saturday. You got to flush it. Oklahoma State, as we're doing this, I don't know the score of the game, but last I saw, do you know the final of that one? No. It was 56-48. I know that Texas Tech, and it was late in the game, so I don't know what happened. But either way, we know Oklahoma State's reeling. You got to come out, you got to flush it and play better. Oklahoma State's going to be a different beast. It's not Kansas. I mean, this is what we kind of talked about this week, right? This Kansas team is hot. This is not the same team that was 1-5. This is sort of what we feared, I guess, is that Kansas was going to come in like this, and man, I mean, I'm not sure. We've seen teams flip the other way, where you start off hot and just totally decline. I don't remember a team flipping like this, where you're 1-5, and they really, over the last month, you'd have to say, have been the best team in the Big 12. You could argue that, and a stat on TV they showed first time in FBS history that a losing team has beat 3 straight ranked opponents. So they're red hot right now, and CU just ran into arguably the hottest team in the country.
It's a credit to Kansas's coaching staff because, especially in this portal era, like you said, it's tough to keep guys engaged when you get out to a really tough start to the season, and Kansas did, but their coaching staff has gotten them back. What were your thoughts on covering a game at Arrowhead? I'm kind of anxious to go to Lawrence in the future. That's one of my favorite Big 12 towns, and I can't wait to see their stadium remodeled down the road. We were pretty high in the press box watching this game. Yeah. It's nothing too fancy. I think it's the Chiefs fans that really make this place what it is.
Yeah, it's cool being in an NFL stadium, and the turf is kind of interesting. A lot of very sandy, it looks like. Yeah, but actually, the press box was pretty nice, I thought, and it was cool being in an NFL stadium. The Buffs hadn't played in one since that A&M game in 21 at Mile High. I don't remember the last one on the road. You remember the last road game we were at an NFL stadium? Maybe was it the Pac-12 title game in 2016 at the 49ers Stadium?
It was. Yeah,
was it? Stadium. Yeah, so it's been a while, but it was pretty cool. I've never really been to Kansas City. I've driven through it a lot, but this is the first time I've really spent any time in Kansas City, and You at least got some good barbecue out of this trip. Yes, the review of that is really good because Q39 and Joe's, they lived up to the hype, and you recommended the Z-Man sandwich at Joe's. Yeah, that's the best barbecue sandwich I've ever had. Yeah, and I tried Arthur Bryant's, and it was wonderful. I mean, you just can't go wrong with barbecue in this city. So obviously a disappointing result out here for Colorado. They still have a chance to win 9 regular season games. Yeah. And there's kind of a logjam now in the Big 12 with BYU losing. So we were all trying to figure out what Colorado's path could potentially be to the Big 12 championship game, but it's pretty complicated right now. It's really complicated. I have no idea. I guess to make it simple, it would be if the Buffs beat Oklahoma State and either Arizona State or BYU loses next week, the Buffs are in. Because then there'd only be, I guess it depends on what Iowa State does too. So I can't even say that right now because as we do this, Iowa State still has to play Utah. So, I don't know. There's so many scenarios that we were talking about it. I'm like, I don't know. There's still there could be a 4-way tie for first at the end of the night, plus another 5 teams that are just a game back. And so with the 4-way tie or a multiple team tie, it then becomes like record against the next best team. And it could be any one of like 5 teams. So trying to figure that out right now, I have no idea. I just got to get my story done tonight, and then we'll figure it out. As Coach Prime said, this loss is so disappointing because
they control their own destiny. And now we got to talk about those scenarios. So that's why this was obviously a frustrating game for Colorado. But again, I still see them bouncing back and providing some more memories before this one's over.
Yeah, I anticipate them being a lot better on Friday. I think at this point it just becomes how does the math work to get you into Arlington, and can you get there?
All right, Colorado falls here in Kansas City.